his experience and stuff, and he's really trying to make it a good program. And so was the equipment manager for the Ontario Reign, who used to work for the Stockton Heat, the equipment manager for the Ontario Reign. He's part of our groups. He's on our group. He's on the pages and everything. So a lot of people probably know who he is. They're collectors, so they kind of know the value. And this year, Stockton's prices are a little bit better than they were last year.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the more popular players, I think, Janik Foe. I think Foe.
A lot better.
That guy Foe. I think he bought
Fu,
all his.
yeah, Fu.
Fu.
But
yeah, Fu always buys his jerseys.
Right, but you've got Hathaway, and you've got Janikowski, and you've got some of those players that have been.
Yeah.
And real quick, guys,
they're more.
Let's just to bring people back up to speed. We had a little audio technical issue, so you heard me but didn't hear Dan or Tom. But now we're getting into talking about the Stockton Heat sold their stuff, so we can we'll hit on that. We'll talk about some of the other sales, and you can send us messages, let us know on other sales that are going on, and kind of talk about the as the playoffs progress, the cost of some of those.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the playoff ones are gonna be hot. So, but I think the Stockton Heat prices are better this year. They're more reasonable, and some of the ones that are like $200 down there, those are probably the game issue ones, for the lesser players. And the guy last year, last year said, "Hey man, don't have the players sign them. Let the collectors do as they please." And from what I saw, not one Stockton Heat jersey was signed this year. So
at least they listened.
Yeah. So there's some. I think some people out there that are some teams. We know the Dallas Stars. We know that the lady that runs that program wants to get better. And again, we want to have her on and after her first year of doing this. And I think it's like we've said, I think it's important if you can make contact with people that sell the jerseys and kind of give them a collector's point of view. Maybe the programs will go down the road of being more reasonable and being more, the things that we want to see with the jerseys, Some people will listen, some people won't,
Yeah.
So yeah,
and that's the thing is getting that word out, and even at the lower level teams, I had to laugh a little bit because the Central Illinois Flying Aces, I had reached out to them, I think at the beginning of the year this is the new USHL team for this year. They renamed
that's that one that's got. Yeah, they got that cool logo with the plane on it, right?
Yep. And I emailed at the beginning of the season, we're not going to sell them. We recycle them year to year. No, they sold a whole bunch of them. They auctioned them off. Most of them went for $150. I know a couple of guys up in Chicago area bought them and really looked good. Some of them, I guess, had some decent wear. But it's just like, hello, I was trying to reach out and give you advice. And, oh, no, we're just not going to do it. And then they just threw them out on an auction site on their page.
Didn't they use someone tagged it in there. Someone tagged in the pages where you could go and bid on them and stuff like that. So they were out there. Yeah, some people got them and posted them. So some teams, all you can do is try, you just try to get the word to them and try to help them out.
I know Derek is going to try and post some more teams as they do auctions or different things for all the different teams we find out about. I mean, some will be through MyGray, some will be through NHL auctions, teams doing them themselves, just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, some of those Stockton jerseys, not only are they like cheap, they're also surprisingly like training camp and preseason jerseys that the AHL have put on. I mean, their prices, come on. I mean, it goes from like $175 from last year or the year before to like $350 for Gillies. The way it's just pretty neat the way how some of these places, like, they realize, like, oh, last year we made a mistake. We really overpriced our jerseys, because that's what a lot of the Calgary fans said. They're like, we have to pay it. You might have it in U.S., but we still have to pay it in Canadian dollars, and that's more for us than it is for you in the U.S., because it's obviously not a straight 1-to-1. And I think, I'm really glad that they were one of the ones that decided to listen and lower their prices, so that the fans from Calgary kind of follow, hey, I've been following this player, I'd like to get his jersey. Oh, but his price is more for his minor league jersey than it is for his Flames jersey. So I just wish Cleveland would kind of do that instead of doing these silent auction of anywhere between 2 to 4 jerseys every home game, and you don't know until the day of the game what players are available. So,
yeah, that's to me. And if there's any teams out there listening, I think that's laziness. I'm sorry for you to put a couple jerseys on a table with one of your reps and just put a piece of paper out there and let people walk up and bid on it. I think that's plain laziness.
I know a lot of teams are going that way,
and you're missing.
And
you're missing a huge.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Market.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying they're missing market. They're missing people.
You're right, but something else that we touched on too last time we got into this was that when the casual fan, not like us where we're buying shit tons of this stuff, the casual fan is thinking about the game and the experience in that moment. Once they leave, oh yeah, they may talk about it, but they're not going to think in their head, well, I could get a game-worn jersey. When they see it in front of them, that's going to click, and that's when they're going to open their wallet.
Yeah. And, I know they're catching a fan moment, but those jerseys aren't from that game,
No.
And that's you're buying a game jersey from the year before or whatever. So it has nothing to do with that game. And I'm I just think it's laziness. I think you miss a huge market of people that would want the jersey, or that might want the jersey. And I'm not, do I like auctions? Not really. Sometimes I wish it was just a straight price, but sometimes at auctions you can get a decent deal, and sometimes you maybe overpay some. So,
or sometimes you raise the price on someone who's being a jerk to you, and you feel good about yourself for doing that. Not saying I've ever done that before.
No, I try not to do that.
I did it because I was in the middle of writing a bid down, and the lady decided to write her bid down as I was writing my bid down. So I was like, Well, I told you that story, didn't I?
Yeah, you put that out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up,
What
Eric?
up?
So, got the baby down? Thought you could join us?
She's getting fed right now, so I figured I'd buy the 5 minutes before I hit the hay.
Well,
Sucks
first, congratulations from all of us, and it seems like the family's doing well.
Yeah, man. So hosting ain't easy, is it?
Technically speaking, no. I had everything set up, but it's one little audio thing that jacked the whole thing up.
It's all good, man.
But I saw you had your older one skating on the basement rink. I give you about 2 more months, and the little one will be on skates.
Yeah, it's gonna be the first pair of shoes.
Hey, you got to do it right.
So everybody's how is the baby, Derek?
Doing well, doing good. Just nocturnal, which isn't good for the parents,
No.
Yeah, her clock's messed up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Watching Toledo lose into Fort Wayne right now, but whatever.
Well, Dan and I are rooting for Texas.
You would.
Yeah, you would.
He's talking about the ECHL.
Oh, well, nobody cares about that level.
I do.
Okay, one person, and 2, you and Derek.
Yeah, you did. ECHL. I don't know.
So what you talking about, boys?
We're talking about how
the
some of the
stock
teams do it. Yeah.
How their teams are, their jerseys, they're starting to pop up for sale. You posted some on the website today. Teams are starting to get out there and sell their jerseys, the various ways of doing them, and who's doing a good job of it. And
Yeah, I'm trying to stay on top of the ones that I find that are up for auction or anything that anybody sends me. Just kind of put it out there so people know. It's hard to stay on top of everything, man.
Yeah.
It's just everything's just so sprawled out.
Yeah, I think
There's so many teams, and
I think this year you're going to see. I got a feeling that probably because a collector did it today, made a post. But I think you're going to see some other things for sale because the Washington Capitol collectors, I think, are really going to start as the caps advance. You know, they're going to start wanting those higher end jerseys. So I got I got a feeling that
with
people are going
Vegas going on, it's going to be harder and harder to get them until the team sucks like the Red Wings do.
Yeah. Well, I think the Capitol, they finally made it to the conference finals. With Ovechkin, I think a lot of collectors are going to want those set of jerseys and stuff. So they're going to have to raise money.
No doubt. I know all about that.
Yeah.
it'll be fine. They'll lose to the Bolts and get back to reality.
Dude, I want a Bolts Knights final.
So I want Bolts Jets. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
The fact that I also have a little bit of money on the Lightning winning it all too, so I'm a little biased on that.
Man, how about no NHL until Thursday? That's messed up.
Yeah,
2-day
I looked at the
hiatus.
schedule. I was kind of surprised by that.
That was ridiculous.
Somebody's kind of throwing
is that
off
game?
the schedule.
Is that when Game 7 is? Is Thursday night?
Yeah.
That long?
Yeah, dude, it sucks.
Yeah, I had to go looking at that twice to make sure that I was reading it right.
Wow.
I mean, lucky for me, I'm on paternity leave, so it's not that big of a deal for me, but still, the wait is the hardest part. Yeah, I had to bust out some Tom Petty lyrics.
And I mean, the longer Vegas stays in, the higher price that gets. But I would like to see four teams that have never been there. Of course, everybody's pissed that Vegas is doing so well. You know what? Whatever. I'm sorry they got.
Who cares?
They've got lucky, and I was happy to see how that all has played out so far.
I hope that I guess it's going to be Seattle going to be the next team in. I hope that they do the same thing for Seattle. They do let them go down and pick a player from each team, and make the trades,
make deals. Yeah.
Who would want?
You know how many? I'm gonna say. You know what fans have been really pissing and moaning about the whole Knights thing? Blue Jacket fans, and it's annoyed me. Being a Blue Jacket fan, I don't understand why they would be so mad. The process was different.
They're mad that Carlson's doing good. They're mad Carlson's doing good, and he didn't perform on their team.
Well,
and they don't understand it's hindsight.
I'm gonna say Torts didn't utilize him to to his strengths. Torts utilized him to what Torts wanted him to do. But they're also mad because Vegas got the better thing because it was just one team. It doesn't matter if it was one or two teams competing against expansion players. It was poor management by the team that did it. It wasn't based on, granted the picks were crappy too, but it's not just the picks. It's, people could say, oh, Vegas got some crappy players. Well, yeah, they got some third and fourth liners, and now they all look like gems. And it's just how you manage the team and how you can manage the players. And it just bothers me that these quote unquote fans are mad because the Knights are doing better than what Columbus has ever done ever.
Dude, whatever. It comes down to the GM and the coach, and people need to understand. Even after the expansion draft, nobody thought the team makeup was going to do anything.
No.
Right now, it's just a bunch of
even Vegas
random
didn't think
looking
they were
dudes
do anything.
doing good stuff. Yeah, nobody was super excited about it. It was oh, we got a team, but it turns out people are gelling together really well and playing really well and good hockey together, and you cannot predict that. So
no.
It's a true Cinderella story because it's just those guys. It reminds me of what is it, the Pistons 2004 basketball? It's a team. It was a team of people nobody knew.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, why would you want the team to suck? Why would we want to have an NHL season this year where Vegas won 15 games?
because every person who's a fan of their own team is bitter that their team didn't do as good as Vegas their first year.
Yeah, okay. Look at the entire NHL. The entire NHL season was that little bit more exciting this year because Vegas was doing well.
Yes.
Man, we just need to do what the Champions League does in soccer, where the worst teams get dropped out of the league, and then we pull in the best teams from other leagues.
That's
That
kind
way
of an
everybody's
interesting
trying
way
to
to do
win.
it.
I've always
You
liked
should
that.
look it up. It's pretty fun. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I like
kind
it.
of makes that interesting. I'm not a huge soccer fan or anything, but that concept's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've followed it before. I mean, and it's not just the Champions League; it's all of European soccer leagues do it. So, and Brazil does it with their teams too. We're like the only country that doesn't understand how to do that because we're motivated by, I don't know, people moving in. I don't know. It's stupid.
It's
All right,
money,
boys,
dude.
you guys have a good night. Daddy duty calls.
Have
See
a
you,
good
man.
one,
All right.
Derek.
Later, guys.
Dude, that's money, Tom. We're not gonna contract. We are not gonna contract our leagues, the big leagues, the NHL, those big ones, because it's money. It's TV contracts, especially. They're not that. Why do you think that teams fight? Why do you think leagues fight so hard to put teams in major markets? That's one of the first things they look at. The first line they come up with is this. They're complaining about Houston. Houston's like the 15th largest market, something like that, market that we have in the United States, and there's not a professional hockey team there.
No.
And it's about the dollar bills. They're not going to contract it. So if they're not going to contract it and you accept that, then why would anybody who's a true hockey fan want Vegas or the next team to suck? Makes no sense. The hockey season was better this year because Vegas was doing good, and it kept you tuned in going, wow, this team is really putting together. Those players that were third and fourth line players on our teams that we're not getting, like Carlson, hey, that guy's pretty good. You know?
Sometimes it's just a change of atmosphere or
Yeah.
when you line them up with different guys, it makes a huge difference. And it was funny watching the game the other night. Ryan Reeves his first playoff game for this year ended up getting third star. He had 8 hits in the game. He was just plowing everybody, and that's part of what made the difference in that game. But it's nice to see a change up, and I understand that people are getting pissed that Vegas is doing well. And I mean, you could say, well, maybe the NHL made things stacked at whatever, but I don't know. I don't see it that way. But I mean, wish we would have kept David Perron, but we didn't, and he's doing very well in Vegas.
Well, I liked how they did it. They said you can protect so many players. The teams were then allowed to go out and make deals with Vegas so they could keep other players. Or, hey, Vegas, please take the salary off our hands.
Yeah.
And then, and Vegas did have to, but they could make those deals, and they were able to put those players together and do certain pieces, and yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, oh, I wish we wouldn't have lost this person, and wish we wouldn't have lost that person. Would that person have helped this team here or there? But like I said, I would have no interest in Vegas winning 15 games this year. That would have been absolutely worthless. It is much more exciting. Now, do I want to see them in the finals? That's nor here nor there. I think the Jets and the Panthers are both better teams. I think the Jets, the Jets are a very good team. Good Lord, they're good. So, and that place is nuts up there.
And wasn't it the first year Atlanta came into the league that they were just total shit? And I think Columbus may have been as well.
Yeah, Atlanta was horrible. The Thrashers were not very good. And I think Tom is right. Columbus was not very good. If you go back and look, and I don't know. I mean, we'd have to go back and research how the expansion draft was held. Maybe the NHL said, hey, we got to do something better because it wasn't fair what happened to Columbus and Atlanta. We weren't fair to them, so let's make our changes so it's not that way. And that's not the fault of, Columbus or Atlanta, that they had to deal with what they had to deal with. And the way it was now, the way they did it this time, I hope they do the same thing for the next team, if it's Seattle or Houston or whoever expands into, because they're
It
going to
looks like
expand to what.
Seattle, and they've already said that Vegas
Yeah.
is protected in that draft, so Vegas doesn't actually have to give up anybody, and that's already upset people as well.
Probably because they don't have the deep rosters, or who knows, but they got to get to 32, and then they got to get to 32 in the AHL, and then they got to get to 32 in the ECHL, and they'll probably sit there. So I don't know. I keep hearing rumors. Is the SPHL and ECHL going to combine and make one big league now?
I
Again,
don't
same thing.
think
I
so.
keep hearing rumors, but it's all seems to be all over the board. The SPHL, I mean, isn't doing bad. I know the Peoria team, Rivermen were out. I mean, they're out of the playoffs now, but they get good attendance up there. They manage. It's all about ownership, is getting that stuff managed well. And I mean, that's definitely not a league you're making any money in. But I know they posted a thing today that, like, I think 8 or 10 guys had been called up to ECHL, and even 1 or 2 may have hit AHL call-ups
Right.
this year.
Well, I know for this area, for Norfolk, if they did that, we would have some natural rivalries, because Roanoke's got a SPHL team, and there's one in North Carolina that's got a SPHL team. So we'd have some regional rivalries in this area if we went to ECHL, or if they combined. I mean, so.
I mean, there continues to be talk. We'll see how it goes. I'll have to reach out to the. I have some ties with the ownership in Peoria and just hear what they're saying. And there may be some stuff in the off season. But you also had the Quad City Mallards are now suspending operations.
More.
Yeah, they folded.
But we'll see.
There was another team, I think, that folded too from ECHL. There always seems to be 1 or 2 teams every year that keeps folding. But then there's another one coming back. There's another one coming back, I believe. Another team that's
Portland.
coming back.
Maine
Portland
Mariners.
Yeah.
Mariners. So, yeah, they were talking about Ann Ironic, I think, was going to go to SPHL, but someone could have just been starting a bad rumor.
Yeah, I think someone's just starting a rumor on that one because it wanted to piss their fans off. So,
well, the Colorado went from the ECHL to the AHL.
At the end of this season, yeah.
Yeah, so they've already did the alignments for that. So that's so St. Louis now will have San Antonio all to themselves.
Yeah, thank God.
And the Vegas will end up with Chicago. So, which that's another one. I know a fellow collector put out there that if you want a Chicago Wolves jersey.
Yes, I was going to say that.
They're doing it very interesting. You can email the lady and put your best foot forward.
And I had somebody reach out to me today saying he was getting what he had reached out to them on one he wanted, and they gave him a price range, and he kind of settled on the, I don't want to say the low end, but I mean, it was a fair offer. I laid out some points to him and said, hey, this is where it's at. He gave him a price. They countered just a tad higher, countered back, and he's getting it. The guy put out,
that's not a bad.
Said, hey, be reasonable. It's all for charity. And I like that. I just wish they would have had an upfront list of, here's who we have, instead of having an email on. But you know what? That's their thing. If they want to do it that way and people are happy, that's fine too.
Going along the jersey lines, I think that's a different way of doing it. She says, hey, we're going to donate to our charity. Put your best foot forward, and then allow you to negotiate a little bit, like, go back and forth. A different way of doing it. So it makes it interesting, I think, when you get something like that. So I'll give the Wolves credit for something like that to be
something innovative
outside the box,
and they're big with their charity arm. So I mean, that's where they put most of their effort in, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, they'll have. I think they usually run all summer long. They run charity, jerseys all summer long.
Yep. Not just jerseys, just other stuff too.
Yeah,
they're like year round with their charities and stuff.
Yeah, they really bump it up in the summer when it's not hockey season. If you go to their page, and you can under the charity auctions and stuff. So the Wolves stay pretty active all year long.
Yeah,
probably more than Rockford does, and
And I would think, say, in the next probably 30 days, you're going to see a whole lot more teams announcing. I've seen a lot of minor league teams announcing sales and that, but I think there'll be a lot more NHL teams that do it probably in the next 30 days.
Yeah, the Crunch do theirs online, on their own website, and then what they don't sell goes over to GameWorn.us. They had their black jerseys, their Humboldt jerseys, I think someone's a dog print on them. They did those auctions, and they just finished their orange jerseys up, their orange auctions up, and I think they got knocked out tonight. So they will probably
they just lost.
They will probably be putting up their white and blue jerseys here soon, from the season. For those of you that are Crunch fans, and they're probably going to start coming out more and more. The teams will probably wrap up and start putting them out there. This is the season for the jerseys,
And the Capitals are still running their thing through hand bid. They've got all kinds of skates.
I think that thing says till June 1st.
Yeah. And some of their pricing isn't out of line.
They've actually lowered some of their prices. I've noticed.
Even if you're just looking for a pair of skates to wear, some of them are reasonable.
Right. I know they lowered the price on some of their bigger name training camp jerseys. Like, I think the Holpe is no longer because they were somewhat high for I thought for a practice jersey. I want to say it was
they've got some of the players' names. Ovechkin's is $500.
Yeah,
I mean that's a cheap way to get an Ovechkin.
Right, and before that, it was a lot more. It was almost $700.
Holtby's $500 now.
Yep.
I mean, if you're really a Holtby fan and want to get in a little bit cheaper, I mean, kind of a toss up. Most of the, I don't call them no-name guys, but lesser known guys, they're all out there for $50. I mean, I've got a couple of the Caps training camp jerseys I bought to skate around in. It's for $50, it's worth it. And even though they're just training camps, every one of them has a hologram sticker and comes with a COA. Even just one that I had that's just got a nameplate on the back, doesn't even have an actual name on it, just a Velcro nameplate.
Yeah.
But yeah, $50.
Speaking of that, I actually wore mine because the guy was, at the time he was with the Monsters, but oddly enough, he had his bobblehead night. The next night he got traded.
Oh, geez.
Because it was part of, it was, and he was a local guy. Well,
Who's that?
I wore his jersey, Carter Camper.
Oh.
I was wearing his jersey that night, and these people behind me said, "Hey, like your Carter Camper jersey, where'd you get it?" And I turned around, and I was like, "Oh, I got it from the Capitals. They were actually selling." He goes, "Really?" She's like, "Well, that would be neat." She goes, "Our son would really like that." I go, "Oh, yeah?" She's like, "Yeah, that's our son on your back." I was like, "Oh." So it was his actual parents that saw my jersey.
That's cool.
And she's like, and I was like, "Oh." She's like, I really like it." And so I take it off. Obviously, I had a shirt underneath. I was like, "Do you want it?" I go,
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God is right. I said, "You can have it." And she's like, "No." I go, "No." I go, "You can have it and give it to him, or you guys can have it." I said, "It's not a big deal." And she was like, No. They were very nice, but they didn't take it, and they thanked me for the offer. So what they had me do was they got a picture of the back of the jersey with them next to it. So
that's nice.
Yeah. She's like, "Do you mind if you turn around and we can just get a picture of the back of the jersey with us next to it?" I go, "Yeah, I don't care." I said, "It's your son." Technically, it was his jersey, so. But yeah, I was more than willing to give it to them. I mean, granted, it was only $50, but that's their kid. I don't know how much of the jerseys they get of their kid, because I've seen them put bids down and then people automatically outbid them just because they want the jersey over them. So I'm always willing to help out, a player's family's jersey, and I don't even know if he even found out about it or not. So
yeah, every team is different on that. That allows the players to get the jersey and stuff like that. some players can get one. They because their families have them all or something like that.
Yeah, and I'll check once he gets through the AHL playoffs. I'll shoot Mike a message. I'll be curious to see if he got his.
I'm sure he
Dallas
did.
one. I'm guessing he did because he usually asks for it. I know a lot of teams have told him no, but
because they want to make money.
yeah.
Well, the NHL teams are a little different. I don't think the NHL teams are really into selling their jerseys for money. I mean, some of them, if they were, they wouldn't go with companies like My Gray or the other companies out there that sell team jerseys.
AHL teams know that their jerseys sell because they always do those specialty jerseys. And if they don't walk out with a couple $1,000s, then they're not doing it right. Because AHL teams know that their fans will pay hand over fist for their jerseys. I mean, that's why the Monsters don't sell theirs individually and they do the silent auction, because they tend to go for more than most NHL jerseys, because they go usually probably about $400.
Well, yeah, but the lower level teams, the AHL on down, they sometimes got to look for other opportunities to make money. They don't have the big TV contract like the NHL does, so they can. If they make money on the jerseys, anything above $250, they're making money, And whether they want to donate to charity, part of their charity auctions, or just bring the money back to the team, they need that money. The NHL doesn't. They don't need to sell the jerseys. Their jerseys, if they make money, great, So.
Oh, I'm not faulting their practice for the reason, but it's just like, I mean, I know, yeah, sorry, got distracted by yelling. So,
well, every team does it differently, but
yeah,
I don't think NHL really needs the money. So, but I mean, they're not stupid. I think some of them know the value of their teams, and some of them, I think, overvalue the players. And that's why they get stuck with them.
So, interesting thing with all these, kind of newer teams getting into the, close to getting Stanley Cup final and into the conference finals, it makes you kind of wonder, are those jersey prices are going to start going up? Because look at the Penguins jerseys now. I mean, a Cameron Gaunt's jersey, I'm just using him, for when he played for the season, is $750, and he was a seventh defenseman. He wasn't used every game. He would play a couple games and be scratched. And it's like, but if you go to like another team, it's like half that price, So does that mean now that is the Capital jersey is going to start being more, or Jets jersey is going to be more because they've won a couple playoff series? Are the Predators going to be more since now, they're close to making their second Western Conference final?
I think the Preds jerseys, because they went last year, I think the Preds jerseys will hold. The Jets jerseys, the Jets sell their own jerseys. They'll probably jump in price because the demand will be there. Vegas will probably jump, and they've been high all year. The Capitals, I think, are going to jump because the team hasn't been there. They've never been this far with Ovechkin. The Lightning, we can never get a handle on the Lightning. We need Bobby on to talk about the Lightning.
You're starting to see more of the Lightning ones come out, so I guess we'll see where
they're crazy.
They only
e-gesture. They hoarded them for so long. They have so many jerseys. They don't even know what they have. That's the way I understand it. Because the Lightning never sold them.
They've been doing them. What they do every game, they'll do one game-worn jersey on e-gesture, and they average in the thousands usually. Now, one of them did get to like Braden Point. His jersey went, I think, $800 because it was like it started out at I think they start out at like $250, and then like the second bid or so was like $890, and it was just like no one else out put another bid in because they're like, well, that's just too high on the second bid, so I'm not going to even try it. So,
well, they've they they've gotten their jerseys out there, and people have been able to get their jerseys and stuff like that, but they hoarded them for so long where you couldn't get them,
Right.
and sometimes that drives up value, and people got to be careful on that, um, because the value gets driven up, and then when you go turn around the corner, then you get stuck with it, unless you want to take a big
Right.
loss on it.
So, with that being said, with the teams that are successfully being successful, their jerseys keep going up. Like the Penguins and all that. Does that mean now? I mean, granted, it's one season, but say Chicago doesn't make the playoffs again for another, I don't know, hypothetically, like 2 or 3 years. Does that mean their prices are going to start coming down?
I doubt it. That's my guess.
You think once their price is what they are, that's
Not until
stay?
I think some teams,
Not until they start losing their stars. You think the prices will go down?
right?
Like Towles and Kane and I guess Duncan Keith.
Taves and Kane won't go down anytime soon until they just fall
I'm
flat.
not saying they. I'm not.
My thought process is if you have stars in the team like Taves and Kane, Malkin and Crosby, the Red Wings, they're hanging on with one left with Zetterberg. When those guys kind of retire or move on, and if there's nobody there to replace them, I think there's a dip in jersey prices. But some of these teams, like the Hawks and the Penguins, the Red Wings, the Rangers, the Canadians, these are established teams. These guys got fans all over. So I think they'll hold steady. I don't think they'll dip down to where like, oh my God, they're giving them away. That's just my thought. The Hawks will not get down there where, first of all, if they ever did dip, the Hawks fans are going to scoop them up so fast you're not going to be able to get them. So they're going to, because they know the investments in it. So
now that could be just based on market of where they live too, because I mean, I don't know. That sounds kind of weird, I guess.
What the Kings sell their jerseys for?
Yeah, the Kings. I mean, it's expensive to live in Chicago and New York, and it makes sense that their jersey is a little bit higher. But I find it funny that you still have other New York team, the Islanders, but their jerseys go for relatively average, nothing crazy price. And
other than John Tavares.
Well, and that's expected because he's their star player.
But the Kings oversell. I mean, you're not talking. The Kings aren't just selling Kopitar or Jonathan Quick at a high price.
Not.
They're selling everybody, and you're like, are you kidding me? Because you're in California, it's crazy. So
yeah. I kind of knew the answer, but I just kind of wanted to throw it out there, seeing if other people, with the same question I asked would have the same answers also.
And I guess we'll continue to watch the playoffs and see, because I know if Vegas gets into the finals, Jesus, those prices will go insane. I looked up Perron's, just the first playoff jersey. His gray one is $2,750. If they get into the finals, you'll see.
That's got to be.
You'll
double,
see at least probably
almost.
a $500 markup per jersey. I may be wrong, but I'm betting, because if that's Stanley Cup final patch, oh God,
isn't that patch worth like $1,000? I mean, isn't that? I mean, that's how they're made. Our gold fleece and the tears of the losing team. I mean,
I think the true value of the Vegas jersey is going to come in about 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I think you're right, but we better wrap this
3
up.
to 5.
We had
3 to 5 years down the road.
I think it's a good call. I know we had some audio issues early on. We got them straightened out. I just don't want to take it past our normal time, but hopefully be back again in 2 weeks and get some more people on. I know it was kind of wasn't last minute, but sometimes people got other things going on. But Derek, join us and all that good stuff. But I'll play us out, and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Just surviving, keep climbing,